Hi guys, Danielle here. I've got Dice Conquest here in front of me. It's a WizKids game. I love how small the box is. It's very travel size friendly. And as you can probably guess, there's some dice involved and they look pretty neat. So let's get this unboxed and then I'll kind of talk through my initial thoughts. I was a little iffy on whether I would need this game in my collection only because I've got so many different types of like dungeon crawler dice type games already. And my favorite one is basically everyone else's favorite one, which is One Deck Dungeon. But this seemed different enough in terms of what the cards say. So we'll take a look at some of that as well. But some more specifics about the game itself. It is a 1 to 4 player game, ages 10 and up, and it's about 30 minutes long. Let's get this opened. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dice. And obviously they're not all d6s, so there's a bunch of different types of dice, which helps make the game feel a little more fresh because the other dungeon crawling games, they're typically all d6s, so this definitely gives some variation, and this is what the dice look like. I like that they're not just one solid color. It just definitely gives it that extra. I'm not sure if it's premium. It doesn't feel the weight is not too heavy, but it doesn't feel cheap. And then of course you have the cards, and then we have some tokens here, I guess. And the rule book is under here. We'll pull that out. And we'll take a look at the rule book as well. As always, I like to see where the solo instructions are, although there may not even be a difference in the solo since this is a co-op game. But yeah, looks like one hero, which is solo, would be 20 health. And then the health basically goes splits for the most part for more players. So this looks pretty simple. It has plenty of examples. That's always appreciated in a rule book. Examples are always the way I learned best. Like I could read rules and I could kind of understand what they're going for, but at the end of the day, it's the example that really puts the rules into practice. So all right, let's get these cards opened. I don't love that they're not standard size. This looks like it might be close to tarot size cards. In terms of like sleeving and stuff, which I don't have that size typically on hand. But I guess this just is what they had envisioned when they created the game, which is okay. It's just not ideal for somebody who only has standard size card sleeves. All right, so these are some creatures. We have 4 reference cards. Let's see what they look like. So round begins, round ends. So if you want to pause here and take a read, I'm not going to read all of this, but it's very clear how to play this game with these reference cards. Always good to have. I have some cards that have hearts on them, and I believe these are the trackers. So each player would get one of these trackers. You start with 20 health if you're one player. If you're in a 2-player game, it's all marked here, by the way, in white. So you just put your starting health token on the one that matches the player count. All right. We have hero cards. So these cards will tell you some of your special abilities. So there's the warrior, cleric, knight, ranger, rogue, sorceress, thief, and wizard. Pretty typical type of heroes, I would say. And then we have just a bunch more creature cards. So these are the pit, poison dart, noxious gas, scything blades, magic rune, spike ball, crushing walls, arrows, and portcullis. And I'm not sure what really the difference. I mean, I can tell by the art that they're different from these because these have like a value on the top right and left and some keywords under the value. So exact means you have to roll or use dice exactly that match that number. Last means it has to be the last remaining creature before it could be killed. Odd means you can only use odd number dice. Exact means I already talked about that. 1 to 4, so dice only valued 1 to 4 can be placed there. So these are all the different types of creatures. I'm assuming these are sprinkled in somehow because they have similar card backs matches. So I'm thinking that's how that would be. Again, I've never played this game before. I've only seen YouTube videos about it. So very, very interested in giving this a try. And then it looks like there's some IDs. So there's like a bottom right, it says T1. And then like this one says T4. So you can identify some of these cards. The creatures also have M's on them. So M18, you can see on the bottom right of that. So I guess if there's expansions, you'd be able to figure that out with these IDs. And then H for hero, I guess. H8 is this one. So that's pretty neat that they've come up with some identification codes on their cards. So that should definitely help with organizing any future expansions that might come out. I mean, to give you the rundown of how this works, you'd basically have 3 creatures out at a time. And if they have any special abilities, definitely read them. And then the things underneath are they called artifacts? I believe they are called artifacts. But I could be wrong. Let's see. They're magic items, I guess. Yeah, video I had watched mentioned artifacts. I'm fine with that terminology, but yeah, it looks like it's called a magic item, I believe, or something on the bottom of these that you can use. But anyway, you'd basically roll your dice, and then based on what you roll, keeping in mind that this die, which has like 10s on them, increments of 10, you just look at the first value basically. So 90 would be 9. And then so you'd look at your dice pool and you'd apply it and try to take out these creatures by meeting or exceeding the numbers on the top left. If you end up not being able to assign your dice in a way that you defeat a creature, the creature ends up attacking you for the attack value on the top right, and then your health ends up taking a hit. So depending on what your abilities are as well, that can also help you manipulate some of the dice and the placement of the dice. So definitely somewhat of a mathy game, which I like. You do have to think, but it's not like too strategic in a way. Like it's not multi-dimensional, it's just numbers. It's a numbers game. So I think I'm really gonna like this one because I don't like overly complex games, and this does not seem complex at all. So no doubt there will be a playthrough of this one on my channel. If anything, probably more than one playthrough because I just really have a feeling I'm gonna be able to get this game out very easily. And so, whenever I get games out, I try to think, why not record it and see how I do. But yeah, I hope if you're interested, you'll like and subscribe just so that you don't miss out on content like this or any playthroughs related to games like this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. This was Dice Conquest, WizKids game, and stay tuned for more content about this one. Thanks.